That guy, this is your life. I feel sort of like Jay Leno on The Tonight Show. His guest was the artist formerly known as Prince. And Jay said to him, "Should I call you the?" That's what I feel like. You know, that I really like you, dude. I thought we were on the way to being friends, but apparently you don't need friends like me. I saw you complaining about people making fun of you, and you had to take videos off because you didn't like that. And so I thought I could help. We had a nice chat through comments, but then MC Tune came up and you just went off the deep end. I don't know what happened. Now you have blocked my comments, so there's no use for me to even watch anymore, so I won't be watching your videos. I certainly understand how you would be afraid of hearing me give you logic, reason, and proof. You make videos to globetards, you ask questions, but then you block people so they don't reply. So don't be alarmed if you don't find any globetards to reply to your ramblings. It seems that you built up a vendetta against MC Toon and an unhealthy obsession with how a compass works. You can't disagree with me here. MC Toon doesn't watch any of your videos, and yet you keep referencing him and saying coward and he's run. And you say that you've made 7 videos about this, yet when I go to your channel, I counted 20 compass videos. And 7 months ago, you had a title that says, "This is my last one on compasses." You know, I have to say, I certainly appreciate that you stay away from curvature on the horizon. Flat Earth certainly beat that one into the ground. You try in your own way to do science. You have imaginative ideas and you try to convey those. But when you're proven wrong, you cling to that idea like a dog to a bone. And you're convinced that no one understands you. It's not your fault, it's their fault. You are the epitome of Dunning-Kruger all the way. And you need to look up Dunning-Kruger because I think you have that wrong too. Dunning-Kruger is when someone believes himself to be smarter than he is. So I know some of your experiments. You took a lot of the videos off, so I don't remember all of them. I watched your video today about the moon. You just don't stop to think about what you're saying. The moon is not close, it's not a reflection. You just don't understand. Do me a favor. It's simple, it's low cost. Every town has an amateur astronomy night frequently. Look it up and see if you can find one. Go there and look through a telescope. In my opinion, you've never seen a telescope. Ask to see the moon and a planet, any planet. Or you can go to Walmart or Amazon You can buy a simple telescope for $100. Look for those things, the moon, planets. Just once in your life, you need to see things through a telescope. Another experiment, this one you've gone off the deep end about. Magnetic fields behave different for each type of magnet. So a disk magnet has a north on one side and south on the opposite side. If the magnet is large enough, it might have two norths or two souths. The field lines that are measured emanate from the north side, go up and down to the south on the opposite side. So just like on a bar magnet, they go up from the north, around, and back into the south. If a magnet's large, So if you lay your compass flat on the paper with north up and put your compass around that like you did on your video, of course it's going to point to north every time. All it can see is north. If you take a bar magnet and in order to be similar to the disk magnet, it's got to sit on its base and stick up in the air. So north would be up in the air, south would be touching the paper. That is the way that the magnet would be close to what a disk magnet looks like. Then the magnetic field comes out the north, goes around, comes back into the south. And those are measured field lines. We're not making that up. So if you lay your compass down on the paper with the bar magnet sticking up, the magnet's going to go around and it will point to north all the time, just like the disk magnet. And you can try that. But when you lay a disk magnet on its side on the paper, north is over here, south is on the other side. It's not like a disk magnet. The disk magnet, north is on the top, south is on the bottom. So you have a totally different magnetic field. So for a bar magnet and a disk magnet to be similar, you have to stand them up. Stand up the bar magnet. So that's your problem with magnetism. Now, you also had an experiment where you took a squeeze bottle and you squeezed it and you said, now I have a vacuum. You let go of it and said, now the vacuum sucks in the air. Vacuums, the way physicists talk about it, are completely different than that. They're not like, a vacuum is not like your Hoover that cleans your carpet. The vacuum of space is very, very little pressure, a tiny number close to zero. I think you were trying to prove that a gas must be enclosed according to the second law of thermodynamics. Again, I couldn't find the video, so I'm trying to remember. So yes, the second law of thermodynamics is correct. If there, if you're in an enclosed container, the gas will fill the container equally, uniform, all through the container. And if there are no outside forces, the gas will stay in the container. Now, if the atmosphere is enclosed in a container, and like all flat earthers say, there's no such thing as gravity, then the atmosphere contradicts the second law of thermodynamics. You think about it. The atmosphere starts at sea level at 14.7 psia, and it gradually decreases as you go up in elevation. Just decreases and decreases. You think about Mount Everest or Machu Picchu or someplace like that. You know that the atmospheric pressure is lessening, and then as it gets up higher and higher into the exosphere, it's very, very low, and the pressure is close to zero, almost zero. So think about that. The atmosphere gets close to zero, then the vacuum of space is also very close to zero, and the vacuum of space goes on from there. So it's not that we have this giant pressure and then all of a sudden a vacuum. The pressure of the atmosphere decreases and decreases little by little until it reaches the vacuum of space. Your squeeze bottle was not a vacuum. When you release it, it's not the vacuum sucking in the air. When you squeeze it, your hand is a force pushing out the air. When you release that force, the squeeze bottle wants to go back to its original shape. So the squeeze bottle is moving back to its original space, and the air has to come in and fill up the vacuum. So the pressure is from outside pushing air into the inside. That is the force that causes air to rush in. The first video I watched today, I couldn't believe it. You were debunking a professor who was teaching about gravity. Just blows my mind that you were trying to tell this teacher that you knew more than he does. So this again is Dunning-Kruger all over again. You've had no science or no physics training whatsoever, and he's amassed years of training, probably a PhD, physics. Otherwise, they wouldn't let him be teaching students. And second, let me assure you that scientists don't just make up stuff off the top of their heads. They very well know and understand the Earth's interior. I know that shocks you, but they do. They study the Earth's interior using seismic waves, which are caused by earthquakes, by volcanoes, by even heavy machinery or explosions or whatever can cause seismic waves. And those seismic waves have been studied in the laboratory. They know how they behave in a solid, in a liquid, with different materials. They've studied that. They know these seismic waves, and they can measure them using equipment that is made for that purpose. So they measure those seismic waves that go through the earth, and they can tell what part is solid, what part is liquid, uh, what part is metals, uh, what part is, just rock. Um, they can speculate about certain things and find out that the P waves and the S waves of seismic activity match what they've theorized. So it's well studied. They definitely understand what's going on. And what this guy is teaching is what happens when you have these P waves and S waves going on through the earth. And this happens all around the earth. It's not just in one place, and it's not just, a few miles deep. Uh, these P waves and S waves are generated from everywhere on the earth, and they travel through the earth from one side to the other, so they know that the earth is a sphere. Uh, they know what it's made of because of the activity of these P waves and S waves. Uh, and so uh, it was completely wrong for you to make fun of him for what he's teaching and what he knows. Uh, but now, let me say, it's fantastic that you come up with ideas, that you think for yourself, that you're not watching flat earth videos and regurgitating what you hear from other flat earthers. Scientists come up with ideas all the time. Everybody. Um, and scientists, even Einstein and Hawking, Newton, all these guys are wrong sometimes, and they have to admit that they're wrong. Even Einstein. And but when you hang on for dear life to a wrong idea, that's the bad thing. That's where you miss being a scientist, is that you have to learn uh, where you're, when you're wrong, to let it go. Let me assure you, if you come up with an idea and 1,000 people tell you that's not right and give you the exact same uh, reasons why it's not right, then you should think you must be the one that's wrong. Um, if you're walking down the street and you have your shoes on the wrong feet, and 1,000 people walk by and say your shoes are on the wrong feet, then at some point you need to say to yourself, self, my shoes must be on the wrong feet. So it's not that globetards just don't understand what you're saying. Dude, you're just wrong. My last point I want to make is that you really need to get some training. You have these ideas, you kind of have the thinking of a scientist, but you need to get some training, dude. Um, I would suggest you find just a basic science class, uh, just the most elementary science class you can find. I'll bet you there's one online you can find probably for free. Uh, just sit and go through one of these science classes so you know some of the terminology and some of the things they do. Um, at the very least, you need to research some of your ideas before you put them on a video. That's part of the problem. You need to look it up, Google what you're thinking about, and see what other people are saying. Uh, Again, you don't have to think like a globetrot if you don't want to, but you need to at least solidify some of your ideas before you make a video and uh, present it to the whole world. Uh, so that's really about all I had to say, and I just want to let you know, keep looking for those ideas. Uh, Research some of those ideas. Every scientist, look at your scientific method. There are steps in there for uh, researching and looking up things and finding out what other people say. Uh, I do that. I research every sentence that comes out of my mouth because I want to be sure I'm correct. Uh, so keep doing that and keep trying. That's all I can say about that. And uh, best of luck to you as you go your way. Again, I'm not going to be watching any of your videos, so I hope you do well.